It's been 3 years since I left corporate. 3 years. And you would think that after 3 years of not having a manager, not having a timesheet, not having a dress code or performance reviews, you would think those habits would just fade. They have not faded. Little tics and behaviors and thought patterns that I picked up over 10 years in accounting and apparently just kept forever as a souvenir. So today we're going through all of them. The habits I literally cannot stop doing because of corporate. Some of them useful, some of them completely unhinged in my personal life context, and some of them that make a lot more sense once I explain where they came from. Man, it's been 3 years. 3 years, guys. All right, quick context before we start, because I think it matters for understanding why these habits are so sticky. I worked in public accounting for a decade. 10 years. That's 10 years, guys. And public accounting specifically has a culture that is intense. It's deadline driven, it's detail obsessive, it's availability expected, it's efficiency required. The job trains you to operate a certain way, and it trains that thoroughly. And here's the thing about habits. The longer you do something, the more automatic it becomes. So 10 years of the same pattern, the same rhythm, the same expectations that doesn't just disappear when you hand in your laptop. And yes, I did go through a few companies, but they're all kind of on the baseline pretty similar. It just starts to become a part of how your brain operates. The setting changes, but their software is still running. So 3 years later, after quitting, here we are. Let me show you what's still installed. The email anxiety that never left. My inbox needs to be at 0 unread emails every single day. Not because I'm particularly organized, not because I enjoy emails. I do not enjoy emails, but because 10 years of corporate email culture installed a fear of missing something important that I've never been able to fully uninstall. In accounting, an unread email could be a client with a deadline question. It could be a manager with feedback that needed immediate action. A document that was time sensitive in a way that couldn't wait until tomorrow. Missing emails had consequences. Real, professional, and sometimes expensive consequence. So I developed a system. Read everything. Action what needs to be actioning. And if something still needs a response or a follow-up, I mark it unread. So a notification keeps bothering me until I deal with it. Which is crazy because on a normal basis, my phone notifications are all over the place. I don't care. But a little red dot next to the email bothers me so much. Or if it has a number and it says like 5 emails unread, that gives me anxiety. So I ended up using my unread count as a to-do list, very deliberately. And I know this is not how most people probably use their emails, but it works for my brain, and I genuinely cannot imagine operating any other way at this point. Right now, my email is literally at 0. I do find it funny how I use that anxiety and how I like things to be very clean as a way to keep myself productive and accountable, because I really cannot leave messages unread in my read all the time. I don't care, but that works. The corporate version of this was for survival in corporate. The personal version of this is just how I live now. The timesheet that lives in my head. This one I genuinely cannot turn off, and I've stopped trying. In public accounting, timesheets are everything. You've heard me talk about them. You don't just track that you worked on a client project. You track exactly how long you worked on it in 15-minute increments, and sometimes even shorter for other places. Every task, every call, every review, every email thread, that's billable time that is tracked with a precision that would feel excessive in almost any other industry. And yes, after years of doing that, my brain just kept doing it automatically, without a timesheet. I am always mentally aware of how much time I have spent doing something. Always. Edit a video, I'm running an internal clock telling me that I've been there for 45 minutes. If I'm in a conversation that's gone too long, I'm clocking in quarter-hour segments without even trying. I was literally playing with a kid outside and was thinking, oh my God, 15 minutes have just passed. I didn't need to know that. I was just outside enjoying the time with the kid. The funny thing is, this habit is actually quite useful as a creator and a solo entrepreneur, because knowing how long things actually take, not how long you think they'll take, but how long they actually take, is valuable information. My timesheet brain gives that for free. So although it is quite annoying, I am glad I am aware of the time that I'm spending on certain things. Corporate gave me a weird gift on this one, so I'm keeping it. If it isn't written down, it didn't happen. In accounting, there's a phrase that gets repeated so often it becomes reflex. Document everything. Every decision, every calculation, every client conversation, every change. You document it. Not because you don't trust yourself, but because you need to be able to prove what you did, when you did it, and why. because audits are real. Questions come months later and the work has to stand on its own with a paper trail. And I document everything in my personal life now. Decisions I've made and why, receipts I don't strictly need to keep, screenshots of email confirmations of purchases I've already received. It's kind of like journaling anyways, but with a little bit more intention. My husband thinks I have a problem, and maybe I do. But I also have never been in a situation where I needed proof of something I didn't have. But now that he's in corporate, he gets it. Paper trails are everything. Okay, with that said, I have cut back on keeping a bunch of receipts and like random paper tidbits because things start piling up and start to look a little hoardery. So I'm reeling it in a little bit, but I'm finding smarter ways to keep track of everything. I'm also getting older, right? This brain, this noggin, doesn't work the same way as it used to from before. So I want to make sure I keep track of everything somewhere, let something else remember it for me, then I don't have to. The corporate version was a professional requirement. The personal version, though, is just a slightly paranoid organizational system that happens to work pretty well. Let me build an agenda. I cannot go into any kind of scheduled conversation unprepared. In corporate, especially accounting, you don't walk into a client meeting without knowing your numbers. You don't go into a manager check-in without being able to speak to your current projects. You don't get on call and wing it if there's any chance someone is going to ask you something you should know. That standard is transferred directly into my personal life, and it is both a strength and occasionally kind of a weird thing. So now I have prepared talking points with my doctor. I make a list of questions before I call an internet provider. If I have to talk to a contractor, I'm making sure I have a PowerPoint ready with pictures. Some would think this is over-preparedness. I think I get exactly what I need to say and make sure my questions are answered. And I do this mainly because my mind tends to automatically go and think of the best scenario and then the worst. And that's my brain all day long. When someone deviates and gives me something I didn't think of, it can render me speechless and catch me off guard. And I hate that, but kind of love it at the same time because it keeps life entertaining. So the upside of all this is I'm usually not caught off guard very often. The downside is that I can't turn off the brain when I'm thinking of possibility. And it takes some time. It takes time to be prepared for conversations, for phone calls, for whatever. It takes time. I don't ever regret it though, so I like being prepared to an extent. I swear, it's not too much, just enough. I like being prepared just enough. Am I being efficient right now? Always. This is related to the timesheet habit, but distinctly enough that it deserves its own little section. So in public accounting, you are very aware of the ratio between billable and non-billable because billable time is work that can be charged to the client. It's a metric. Non-billable time is overhead. It's administrative tasks, it's internal meetings, it's training. They're necessary, but they don't actually generate revenue. The efficient accountant maximizes billable hours. That's just the job within the job. And 3 years later, I still evaluate my time through this lens. Except now instead of billable versus non-billable, it's productive versus non-productive. Is what I'm doing right now moving something forward? Is this time being well spent? What is the return on this activity? Because now that my days are actually free and my days, I can do whatever I want. I can vegetate on the couch all day, or I can choose to be productive all day on the computer. It can be anything. But because of that, I feel like I have to make the use of all my time now, take advantage of and use to the fullest. So I want to be productive. And I catch myself when I'm out and about, when I'm just running errands, or if I decide to take an off day and go do something fun, I'm thinking, can I make this productive? And I feel like that's where it becomes a double-edged sword. The efficiency awareness is genuinely useful for running a solo operation, but the inability for me to switch it off, to sit in unproductive time without mentally flagging it, that's kind of like a corporate hangover. Rest should not feel like non-billable time. And I repeat, rest should not feel like non-billable time. And I'm still working on that. Everything has a due date in my head. The deadlines in public accounting are not suggestions. Tax deadlines specifically, like April 15th, does not move because you had a busy week. Extensions exist, but they have limits. The deadline is a deadline and you meet it. 10 years of that, and my brain now assigns deadlines to everything. Grocery shopping, responding to a text, watching a show I said I'd watch with my husband, starting a creative project. There's always a mental due date attached. And when I'm approaching one, even a made up one, even one I set for myself with no real consequence, there's a low grade urgency that kicks in. But it's not bad. Currently, I'm trying to do a video each week with a few shorts in the between. I have a hard deadline for the videos, but the shorts not so much. It created less urgency for that, but I think I need to get back onto that. I do well with a set deadline. I just do. And that's probably what came from all the years of schooling and corporate just combined. But the useful version of this is that I'm rarely late on anything that actually matters. The less useful version of this is that I have given myself stress about self-imposing deadlines for things that probably just doesn't require the stress. Corporate trained my nervous system to treat deadlines as real threats, which they were in that context. In regular life, it's probably a little bit too much. Hey, you should probably CC yourself on that. In corporate and accounting specifically, you learn very quickly to protect yourself professionally. When a decision is made, you document it. When something is approved, you document it. When instructions come verbally, you send a follow-up email confirming what was discussed. Not because you're paranoid, because things go wrong. Memories differ, and the person who has the paper trail is the person who can prove what actually happened. So I make sure I CC myself on things in my personal life. Follow-up summaries, talks with service providers, anyone who has committed to something on my behalf. I take a screenshot of agreements. I save confirmation numbers. And this is fun because when you teach that to your significant other and they start CCing you on important things, it's actually quite great. You're always in the loop and you have that paper trail. I love a good paper trail. I do. Look, consumer protection aside, this habit has saved me money and hassle more than once. The corporate context that created it was for professional survival. The personal application is just good practice. I'm not sorry at all about this one. I love it. But what if it's important though? This is related to the impact zero, but has a different flavor of the same anxiety. I cannot delete or archive an email without reading it, even if it's clearly promotional and it lives in the promotions tab. Even if the subject line makes it completely obvious that it's not important, have to open it, confirm it's not important, and then archive it. The fear is that one day I'll mass delete a batch of emails and that there will be one legitimate thing buried in there that I needed. This has happened to me approximately 0 times. But what I learned is that cleaning your inbox regularly so you don't have to just mass delete things at the end. The volume of emails I process daily is kind of absurd for a person who does not work in corporate anymore. And yet here I am, reading every newsletter I subscribed to 3 years ago, just in case. Let me walk you through my reasoning. All right, in accounting, you learn to show your work, not just the answer, how you got there, the assumptions you made, the reasoning behind every number. Because someone is going to review it and someone's going to ask questions. Like it is not a position that's easily defendable in a professional context. And now I over-explain decisions in situations that probably do not require it. Oh, did you ask why I choose one grocery store over another? We'll walk you through the price comparisons I did mentally. Ask why I scheduled something on Tuesday? I will explain the logic of my weekly structure and why Tuesday made sense given my other commitments and the commitments of my husband's. Granted, my husband does start to just nod when I do this, and he doesn't need the full audit trail. He just asked a simple question and yet has to listen to me. Recently, someone did ask me what brand of milk I buy, and I buy the Horizon organic one specifically as like a multi-pack from Costco. They're like, why? It's cheaper if you get just like the gallon jug and this brand. And I went, no, you don't understand. I don't go through milk that quickly in the house. I need something that will last longer in the refrigerator than a week. But also, I kind of like the taste better, for one. It just has a cleaner taste to it. There's less of like a vanilla-y, almost a melted ice cream taste that tends to happen in some of the other milk brands. Anyways, this went on for a little while because I had to fully convince them that this is why I'm using what I'm using. Plus, I'm low lactose intolerant and I can drink this milk. That's a plus. Anyways, the professional version of this is called transparency and documentation, and it's a good thing. The personal version of this is called Nikki explaining why she bought that specific brand of pasta for 4 minutes. And it is perhaps a bit much, but hey, this only comes around if they ask me specifically why I did something. The green dot that never really went away. And I talk about the green dot in many previous videos. It's the Microsoft Teams status indicator that became a surveillance tool in certain corporate cultures. The pressure to always be visible, online, always responsible, and always available. Even though I no longer have a manager checking my status, thank goodness, I still check my notifications compulsively. My phone, my laptop, my email. I am always half aware of whether something has come in and needs a response. The anxiety that something urgent has arrived and I haven't seen it yet, that's still kind of there, running quietly in the background. Corporate installed it, and it has been remarkably difficult to uninstall. It used to be almost all the time, actually, that I'm checking my email, I'm checking my notifications, I'm checking statuses. I couldn't help it. So I have gotten better at this. Not quite all the way there yet. There's still some evenings where I pick up my phone to just check if anything came in. But there's no logical reason for the urgency at all. Corporate has trained my nervous system to treat silence as a potential problem. I'm slowly teaching it that silence is just silence. Can we get through the agenda first? In corporate and in client facing accounting, especially, calls and meetings have a structure. You open with a purpose, you cover the items, you confirm the next steps, and then you close. Efficiently, respectfully of everyone's time. I do this in casual conversations now, but it's not on purpose, not consciously. But I notice I naturally move conversations towards a point, summarize what was decided, and then close with what happens next. In conversations that are just like catching up with friends, where there's no agenda. And no one has actually called me out on it, but it does make things in my mind still very, very clear. They know that I'm listening and we're engaging, we're talking, and I hate running casual conversations like a meeting though. Honestly, this one might be a little bit because of my husband who likes to get to the point, get conclusions, and make sure there's like a plan in place to keep it going. It's very problem solving way of thinking. So I appreciate it, especially at home. And I'm hoping that the people who might find this a little exhausting, well, sorry. I want to say it was corporate, but I feel like it's also spilled into my personal life pretty seamlessly, and I don't think it's going anywhere. All right, so that was 11 habits. Yeah. 11. We got through 11 of them. That's crazy. There's zero inbox, timesheet brain, over documentation, meeting prep for casual conversations, billable time calculations, deadline anxiety, paper trails, reading every email, over explaining, notification compulsion, and accidentally running a catch up like a project. I'm 3 years out and I'm still running corporate software. Here's what I've actually come to think about all of this. Some of these habits are genuinely useful. The timesheet awareness, the documentation, the paper trails, those transferred into my solopreneur life and they work. Gave me some real skills wrapped in some real anxiety, and I've just kind of had to figure out which is which. The zero inbox thing is probably still anxiety, and the over explaining thing is still definitely anxiety. But the checking notifications during dinner, I'm working on it. That one's getting a lot better. But the time tracking, the deadline brain, and the preparation instinct, those I'm keeping. Corporate didn't give me much that I wanted to take with me, but it gave me those. If you have a corporate habit that you can't shake, let me know about it. Tell me what it is. Drop it in the comments. Definitely missed some, but I don't want to go to therapy to unwrap it all. If you got this far, thanks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like and subscribe. And with that, I will see you in the next one next week. Let me know what you want to see. All right, that's it. Bye. Corporate. I'll fill you in a little secret. I did talk to old corporate buddies last week at a wedding. So glad I left.